Oh gosh, sometimes making thumbnails can be exhausting. Them some heavy books. Hey everybody, welcome back. I am going to be doing the Intimidating TBR Tag. This tag has been going around. I've been watching like everybody do this tag. I've really enjoyed watching it, even though I'm watching this tag like on repeat and just watching a bunch of other people do the same tag over and over again. It's a really fun tag. I enjoy so many different books that people are finding intimidating. It is fun. So I've been wanting to do this tag, and I've actually been now tagged to do this tag. I was tagged back in May by Angela from Angie's Epic Reads. I will leave her video in the description below. This was originally created by Lindsay from Lindsay Ray, but her video is now set to private. So I won't be putting the original video in the tag below, but I will put her channel in the description below for you to go check out her channel and check out some more of her videos. So on we go with the questions. Question number 1. What book have you been unable to finish? I chose That Hideous Strength by C.S. Lewis, the third book in the Space Trilogy. I love the Narnia books. I love a lot of his theology, even though I haven't read it in full yet, but I just can't read his science fiction. I have read 2 out of 3 of this trilogy, and I still cannot tell you exactly what this trilogy is about. The third one was so boring. Nothing was happening. I mean, it was fascinating and well written and just had a great story, but just nothing happening. I had no idea. I couldn't keep my focus. I do have a goal to try and finish it before the end of the year, but I took a huge break from it just because it was getting to the end of my string. Like, I couldn't even actually physically read this. I had to get audiobooks. That's how bad it was to actually try and focus while reading it. I had to just get audiobooks from Hoopla and try to finish it off of there. So we'll see if I actually get this goal finished before the end of 2016. But yeah, just haven't been able to finish That Hideous Strength. The next set of questions, I'll start with a book you have yet to read but haven't because ... A book I haven't read because I just don't have the time, and that is, sadly, The Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien. I really want to invest in the third book in this trilogy. I read the first 2 too quickly, and I just want to be immersed in this world, but I'm also trying to catch up on my Goodreads reading goals. So a rich, engrossing world like Middle-earth is not one that I've really had time to pick up yet. But again, I have this on a goal as my list to try and finish before the end of the year, and I want to. And I loved the first 2, and I have a feeling I might even love this one more. So I have yet to have time to really sit and immerse myself in the third book of Middle-earth. I haven't read it yet because it is a sequel, and I chose Ink Death by Cornelia Funk. I haven't read this one yet. I've read the first 2. I really enjoyed it. I just haven't sat down to read it. I don't have a reason why I haven't read it yet. I loved the first 2. I loved the audiobook for Inkspell. It was done by Brendan Fraser, and it was incredible. That guy can do so many accents and different voices. I had no idea he was actually that talented for doing stuff with his voice. But Ink Death is actually not narrated by him, so I was going to pick up the audiobook to keep reading with his narration, but it's not narrated by him. So I just haven't picked up the third book. I have no reason why. I just haven't done it yet. Haven't read it yet because it's brand new. That is Courageous by Dina Slayman. This book is now out. It is an anticipated read for me. I haven't gone and ordered it yet from Chapters. I just haven't had the time to go down and buy it, and it literally, I think, just came out this past week. Haven't gone and gotten it yet, but like I said, anticipated read. Just need to get to it. I'm so excited for the third book in this trilogy. Haven't read it yet because you've read a different book by the same author that you didn't enjoy. I chose Scarlet by Stephen R. Lawhead. Now, I did read Hood, which is the first book in the Raven Cycle trilogy, and this is the second book, but I didn't like Hood. I didn't love Hood. I didn't hate Hood. I just had no feelings about it. Like, I read it, it's done. I forgot about it. Like, honestly, I have no idea what I just read in the first book. So even if I get to this, I'm going to have to read the first book all over again. But I think way back in high school, yes, way back in high school, I read a Arthurian book series by Stephen Lawhead, and I don't know if it was for sure by him. I don't remember the series. I don't remember what they were called. I just remember reading those really strange Arthurian retellings by, I think it was Stephen Lawhead when I was researching his books. I think I found them. And they were just messed up. They were weird. They were strange. Maybe I read them in the wrong age. I don't know, but I didn't really enjoy them, and so I don't really know if I'm going to pick these up yet. If I do, I'm going to have to reread the first book because I have no idea what happened. Haven't read it yet because you're just not in the mood for it. The Deathly Hallows by Harry Potter. I'm not in the mood for this book series to be over. I mean, I will have the beauty of rereading it again once I buy my own copies. I'm not in the mood to be engrossed again in these characters and their lives. I finished The Half-Blood Prince. I loved The Half-Blood Prince. I was heartbroken at the end of The Half-Blood Prince and just haven't gotten to The Deathly Hallows yet. But I'm going to get to it. I have to get to it because I have to return these books. They're not mine. But yes, I'm not ready for the series to be over for my first time yet. You haven't read it yet because it's humongous, and that is David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. I haven't read any of my Charles Dickens books. I bought these beautiful cloth-bound editions for some of his greater known works, but I have yet to read any of them just because I find them all super intimidating to read his classics. I want to. I love the story concepts. I've heard so much about the stories. I've watched children's versions of the stories growing up. I've read children's illustrated classic versions of them, so I know the stories and I already love the stories. I just haven't read his actual writings of them yet. But this book is humongous. I don't know if you can tell, but David Copperfield is a very chunky book, and I just don't have time to sit and devote all of that time to this big of a book. Like I said, I'm trying to catch up on my Goodreads reading goal, and books like this is not going to help me catch up. No. Haven't read it yet because it was a cover buy that turned out not to have good reviews. Now, I didn't actually buy this book, but I was looking at it, and the person who bought it for me knew I was looking at it and knew it might be something that I liked, and that is The Sword by Brian Litfin. This is an apocalyptical kind of telling, so this is like in the future, kind of after the apocalypse. It's all reverted back to kind of feudal era type living, and the world has developed this religion based off these three mountains. It's a very almost demonic, magical, witchcrafty type religion, and they're being forewarned about the person who brings the sword being the Bible, the Word of God, and the main characters find a Bible that was hidden during the time of the plagues and the bombing that kind of brought on the apocalypse. And it sounded really fascinating, and it sounded interesting, and the cover is actually really pretty, but I read kind of the first 2 chapters of this. I didn't like what I was reading just for some of the concepts in here. They were really dark and just some things, some content I didn't want to read about. And I've heard nothing about this book. My one friend said it was okay, it kind of gets dragged out, and that's the only person I've met that's read this book so far. So I just haven't heard anything about it, and from what I've read and heard, it wasn't amazing. So I just haven't actually gotten to it yet. In fact, actually this wasn't even the one that was bought for me. My mom actually bought them for me for Christmas. She bought the 3rd book for me, thinking it was the 1st book. So then I had to go out and buy the first 2. This is why I just get book gift cards. And question number 9, what is the most intimidating book on your TBR? Well, it's a toss-up between David Copperfield and The Return of the King. I'm just going to pick those 2. I pull them out, but I just buried them under a big book stack. And them some heavy books, so I'm not going to fish them out. So probably, I would say maybe The Return of the King is probably my most intimidating book, and just the one that I'm just pushing myself to get through, but just haven't yet. But yeah, The Return of the King is probably my most intimidating. And of course, number 10 is tag some people. So I'm going to be tagging the usual suspects, as well as some people I don't think I've actually tagged in tags before. So I'm going to be taking Sam from Sam's Nonsense, if you'd like to do the Intimidating TBR tag, Steve from The Lawn Gnome. I don't think I've seen you do this one yet, Steve, so you're tagged to do so. Morgan from Little Word Weaver. If you're looking for video inspirations, Morgan, here is a tag for you to do. And Gina from Randomly Bookish Gina. I haven't seen you do this one yet either. So you guys are all tagged to do the Intimidating TBR tag if you wish. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!